Hello and welcome to Just a Guy with your social educator, your LLB, your loony left bully.
That's right. It's me, Mike Duckerberg. How's everybody doing tonight? I know normally we do things on Tuesday, but switched it up to Wednesday this week. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather yesterday, so I apologize. Today, all my social educators, we are going to be looking at Biden's last few weeks, last month, to completely destroy America. Also, is there a new constitutional amendment coming? We'll take a look at it. But we all know APM Joe going to go down as one of the worst, if not the worst, president in U.S. history. It's not even debatable. No matter what you do, when you look at the headlines, even on MSN, USA Today, CNN, they're talking about the failures of Joe Biden. Right? They just couldn't even hide it anymore. They're like, look, we lied, he sucks, whatever. Let's move forward. Okay. But he's taking every opportunity all the way to January 20th to do whatever he can to completely derail the United States of America. Just recently, what did he do? He announced that 11 Yemen detainees are being held at a U.S. naval base in Guantanamo. Will now be resettled to Oman. And this includes two bodyguards that were terrorists for Osama bin Laden. Okay? So he's taken 11 Yemeni detainees that are known terrorists that have known to plot and or attack the United States in some way, shape, or form. They're being held in Guantanamo, and they're like, look, we're just going to let them go to Oman. Cool. We don't need you guys anymore. We're good. Right? I mean, it's even gotten to the point where the Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, Republican, sent a nice long letter out to his constituents and to the United States as well. I'm not going to go over all of it. It just basically goes over a lot of this whole um, Yemen detail. But one point that I'm going to pull out of this is this. I quote, if Joe Biden's goal is to weaken America's standing in the world and make people less safe on his way out the door, he's doing just that. His softness on terrorists is dangerous. This is a terrible footnote to a failed president that cannot come to an end fast enough. So obviously, Senator Schmidt from Missouri is, just like most of us, eagerly awaiting January 20th. So this buffoon cannot further damage the United States of America. Now, some of the other ways he's weak and terrorist is with Venezuela. Now, we already know, and Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro has admitted, because of the open borders here in the United States, he's letting his criminals out of jail with the deal that, hey, listen, so you go to America and you don't come back. Right? It's been quite successful. If you don't believe me, ask Colorado. Ask how that Venezuelan drug gang up there has taken over apartment buildings. You know, it's not a big deal. Not to CNN and MSNBC, but you know, to normal Americans, it's a pretty damn big deal, right? But that's not all he's doing. It's not all he's doing because back in July 28th to be exact, they had I guess we'll call it an election where Nicolas Maduro again won his third 6-year term as president. Okay. Now, of course, when you look at it, it's highly fraudulent. We're not going to get into that right now because that's a whole episode in itself. But he won his third 6-year term. And obviously, he's doing such a stand up job in Venezuela that they went from being one of the richest countries to one of the poorest countries where they literally had to eat the dogs and cats just to sustain and feed themselves. Right? So this guy's doing such a stand up job that he's getting voted in term after term after term. Right? But on top of him just letting criminals out of jail and sending them to the United States, he's also been taking hostages, American hostages too. See, he just arrested American nationals that are part of a border mercenary group. Now, there's a total of 7 of them that just got arrested this past week on Tuesday. 2 were Colombian, 3 were Ukraine, and let's see, the other 2 were American. Right? They're part of this quote-unquote mercenary group, and they stand accused of seeking to generate violence in Venezuela ahead of January 10th. Because again, they're saying that this mercenary group is going to cause violence January 10th when he reaffirmed as the president of Venezuela, much like we have January 20th. Right? Same thing, just completely Venezuelan terms. Okay. Now, this isn't the first time he's done this. Back in September, he arrested 3 Americans for, again, same sort of thing, being part of this mercenary group. October, 4 Americans. So September, October, took November, December off, and in January took 2 more. So he's up to 9 Americans so far. Now, he presented absolutely zero, none, zip, zilch, nada, not a single piece of evidence publicly that can substantiate the accusations against American nationals arrested. Okay? You're just going based on his word here, because he's such a stand-up guy. Right? Nicolas Maduro's like, look, I'm a good guy. I always tell the truth. My nation sucks. I've completely destroyed it in a matter of just 10 years. But you know what? I'm being honest. These guys are out to do this. Okay? And you know what? Maybe they are. I'm not saying they're not, because if you had a president like that, I'm pretty sure there'd be a bunch of people that want to overthrow you. No, right? But according to the Wall Street Journal, what he's doing ahead of the Trump presidency, he's actually stocking up on Americans and other foreign detainees, because they have about 125 in total. And he uses them as bargaining chips against Donald Trump here, because it's worked very well with President Biden. 2021, 2022, 2023, President Biden and his awesome DEI hires have given up a lot to get back American people. Okay? So they've given up Venezuelan nationalists, they've given up people that were arrested back in 2015 for all kinds of stuff, from violent crimes to embezzlement to funneling money to Venezuela through illegal actions here in the United States. So there's a whole great genre of crimes that have been committed by Venezuelans that Maduro has exchanged for these quote-unquote mercenaries down in Venezuela that just happen to be American nationals. So he's planning on to do the same thing with President Trump. Now, we'll see how well that works. President Trump doesn't negotiate the same as President Biden, so it'll be different. But this is something that President Biden has allowed and is continuing to go on. Okay, that goes right into Senator Schmitt's statement about him being soft on terrorists and just making America's standing in the world so much weaker. Right? We can go over all the stuff that he's done in the past, from the Afghanistan pullout to Israel being attacked and everything else, and just adding to the softness of the United States. Right? But just in the past month too, I mean, that's not it. That'd be enough for any president right there to go out looking horrible. Right? I mean, that right there, it puts him at a whole other level. That alone. Okay? But he's not done. See, because one thing that President Biden is good at is absolutely sucking. So let's just keep going. What else did he do? He's trying to sell the border wall, right? He knows when President Trump gets in, all those pieces of the border wall that were there when he left in 2020, they're still there in 2024. He's going to start building the wall again. Right? So what did President Biden try to do? He tried to sell it off as quick as possible. Got blocked. The court said, no, you can't do that. But you know what then? See, I thought the Socialist, Communist, Marxist Party was about securing the border. Remember that? Remember back right before November when Flip Flop Harris, the border czar, and all the Democrats there, they all said, "Oh no, we have less people coming through now because we care about you guys. We do. We care about you guys until you lost the election. Now you just go back to really who you are. We're going to try to sell off the border wall of what's left of the border wall, so that way you can't continue to build the border wall, or it's going to be even more costly to build the border wall because now we're going to buy the crap again. I mean, inflated price because President Biden did such a damn good job of keeping the economy down, right? If you ask anybody that's from South Texas and places like that, that were actually building the wall, you're damn straight they voted for President Trump because they had a good paying job securing the border, putting the border walls up, making sure that they're up properly and they work. That was years of work, if not decades of work, for these young men and women out there trying to earn a living. Right? So not just are we making the country and our nation safer, we're actually providing good paying jobs to these people. All right? But he's trying to sell it off, because why not screw America on the way out, right? What else has he done recently? Just a couple of days ago, he was giving out awards left and right. Right? I call them the BET awards, Biden's embarrassing treasonous awards, right? I mean, it looked like an Oprah Winfrey show. You get an award. You get an award. You get an award. I like you. You get an award. Look under your seat. You got an award. Yay! Everybody gets an award. It's like a damn participation trophy for the Democrat Party. I'm not going to go over everybody they gave awards to, but let's just take a look at some of them. You have the smooth criminal Hillary Clinton. She got an award, right? Because she did such a damn skippy job. Such a great, great United States citizen. Hillary, don't mess with me or I'll kill you by suicide in the back of your head, Clinton. How about George Soros? Walking Satan himself. The man is out to destroy anything that goes against his beliefs in socialism, Marxism, capitalism, and controlling and creating the NWO. We'll give him an award too, because that's a great idea. Or how about the man that predicted ice caps will melt 10 years ago, Mr. Al Gore. Man can't seem to get anything right when it comes to the environment. But yet, we're going to give him an award too. Why? Why did all these people get awards? Everybody's a Biden. I get it. Right? And then, obviously, we also have everybody's favorite, pardoning of his son. Which you would never do. Never going to pardon my son. I'm going to pardon you. Not only that, I'm going to go out. I'm going to pardon everybody. Okay? I'm going to pardon 40 different federal prisoners who have death sentences. I'm going to commute them to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Because that's what we need to do. We need to spend more money keeping these pieces of trash alive instead of just putting them to death like the animals they are. Right? We need to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to make sure that they get fed and they get medical care and everything else, and they get the hour out of the cell and make sure they're healthy. And you know what? If you put on death row and you're spending 20 years on death row, that's a problem. That's a problem. But hey, he commuted 40 death row prisoners so that way now we're flipping the bill until they die. Not because we sentence them to death, but they're going to die in their own natural causes. Okay? So he gave out pardons to all kinds of people too. He gave out just as many pardons, if not more. He gave out a bit silly. He gave out more pardons than he did presidential awards. But another thing, everybody gets pardoned underneath President Biden before he leaves. And now that one, I'm gonna take a little grain of salt because oftentimes presidents do grant a lot of pardons on the way out the door. I get it. But the fact that you're pardoning your own son, the fact that you're pardoning death row inmates that were convicted on death row for a reason, those aren't the people we should be saving. right? Don't get me started on that. If we could just say one life bull crap from the Socialist Communist Marxist Party. They're not trying to save the baby in the womb. Not them. We're talking about criminals. Try to save the illegals that are going to kill you, rape you, steal from you, and everything else. We're going to save the lives of the death row inmates. Those are the people that are important. Those are the people we need to save, right? Before we get into the Constitution, guys, there was a very, very important bill that's going through Congress right now. Speaking of Joe Biden and his saving one life bull crap, Laken Riley bill was voted on in Congress this week. Now, for those of you that don't remember Laken Riley, she was the young lady that was killed, raped, murdered by an illegal immigrant that the Democrat, Socialist, Communist, Marxist Party allowed to come here. Right? This death is on your hands there, Bordazar, Kamala Harris. Right? So they presented a bill to the House of Representatives. It's called the Laken Riley bill. Obviously, it's going to have to deal with illegal immigrants. Before we get on that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Before we get to tell you what it is, right? Now, you would think, with the overwhelming majority of people that told Kamala Harris and the horrible ass job she did as the border czar, that we want to make America safe, that we need to take care of these illegal immigrants, that everybody would jump on board, and this would pass overwhelmingly. Every Republican voted yay. 159 of your socialist, Marxist, communist scum. That's right, I called you scum. You 159 no's out there. Every one of them belong to the Socialist, Marxist, Communist Party. Say no. We don't want to vote against illegal immigrants. 23 Democrats did vote yay. You had about 5 of them from California, about 5 of them from New York, and the rest of them were scattered throughout the United States. So 23 Socialist, Communist, Marxists, or Democrats actually are starting to see the light. They're like, holy crap, this is important to my constituents. This is important to America. So even if I don't agree, I'm going to go ahead and vote and support this, right? There are still 159 of you scumbags that still don't get, they got to get it through your noggin there. Hey, thick skull, get it through your damn head. We don't want illegal immigrants here. If you go to my Facebook page, Mike Zuckerberg, just a guy, I listed all 159 members that don't care about your safety. If you want to know who they are, go to Mike Zuckerberg, just a guy at Facebook, and you'll see every one of those 159 socialist, Marxist, communist scumbags that don't care if you live or die. Now, it did pass 246 to 159, or sorry, 264 to 149. 159. My goodness, I can't talk today. Let's start over. Rewind. It passed the House 264 to 159. There you go. Third time's a charm, right? This is how you know my stuff ain't edited at all. I'm not afraid to make a mistake on the air. Because it passed the House, now it's going to go on to the Senate. It should pass there. We'll see how many scumbags there are in the Senate, too. But, so, Mike, Mr. Zuckerberg, what is this doing with the immigration? You would think, this is a President Trump style. Let's round them up, kill them, throw them out of the country, whatever, whatever this CNN bullshit is, right? Whatever they're trying to portray. No. All this does, it says this. It requires federal immigration authorities to detain illegal immigrants who commit theft-related crimes in the U.S. Right? So they're not even saying that they're being expelled from the country. They're just saying that if they committed theft-related crimes in the U.S., they are now going to be detained. Which, if you're an illegal, you should be detained any damn way. That's why I say that they said they cared before the election, but now not so much. They never cared before the election. They just tried to hope that the people of the United States were dumb enough to fall for that tactic, which they weren't, thankfully. Right? Now, on top of that, the Laken Riley Act would also, or Laken Riley bill, would also allow states to sue the Department of Homeland Security for harm caused to their residents because of the illegal immigration. So now HHS, now I know Secretary Mayorkas is going to be out, but that, trying to find the right word without being too derogatory to him. We're just going to call him dumbass Mayorkas and his HHS could now be sued by the states because of the harm that him and his people caused. Not the lower level people, they're just following the orders from above. They got their hands tied. Talk about Secretary Mayorkas and all his little inner circle there, that group of freaking anti-American, let's kill the United States people up there, right? They can now be sued by the states for the harm caused to their residents because of illegal immigration. Okay? So they're actually holding the Department of Homeland Security accountable. I know it's a bad idea for you Democrat socialist Marxists out there. You don't want the government to be held accountable because everything you touch breaks. Everything you say is a lie. So you don't want accountability. That's like the worst thing you guys want. But that's what's going to happen now, as long as it passes the Senate. I truly believe it will pass the Senate. We're going to see, like I said, how many scumbags there are over there that don't want to protect you U.S. citizens from illegal immigrants. All right, we'll find out real damn quick. And once that's voted on and once that's out, I will again on my Facebook page post all the socialist, Marxist, communist scumbags that don't think your life is worth anything to them. Okay. Now I know I teased in the beginning. Is there a possible new amendment to the Constitution? Now, if this was any other year, I'd say no. Okay? I would honestly say, nope, not a chance. It's just fodder for everybody. Let's do it. Let's bring it up. Make me look good. Been done before. But this time, I think it has a chance. What is it? It's a joint resolution, which means both House and Senate. It's led by U.S. Senator from the great state of Texas, Republican Ted Cruz, introducing a proposal to a constitutional amendment to impose term limits for members of Congress, both House and Senate. Now, this would limit U.S. senators to two 6-year terms, so 12 years total, and it would limit U.S. House members to 2 3-year terms, or to 3 2-year terms. Holy cow, I cannot talk about this. I think I might still be a little under the weather. Sorry. House members to 3 2-year terms for a total of 6 years. Now, in a 2-page resolution, that's it, 2 pages, not a big ordeal, not this big, huge, 1,500-page bill or nothing like that, just 2 pages, which will even bring it down a little bit more because it'll be an amendment. The resolution states that after the amendment is passed by Congress and ratified by the states, the amendment would then go into effect within 7 years after the date of its submission by the Congress. So, once it's passed, within 7 years, this amendment would take effect, and then anybody that would be turned out, you would see a whole lot of rollover and a whole lot of new U.S. congressmen and U.S. senators. Now, I didn't have a chance to look it up and go detail by detail. Maybe I'll do that later on. But I'm just kind of curious. If you serve two terms as U.S. Senator, can you then go and serve 3 terms as a U.S. Congressman and House Representatives? So that would give you, 6 plus 12 is 18 years total. And then vice versa. If you're a U.S. Congressman and you're turned out, can you then go to be a U.S. Senator? So you might have the ability to run for a total of 18 years. I didn't look into that, but that is a question that I would have. Now, co-sponsoring this on the senatorial side, you have Republican Senators Mike Lee of Utah, Rick Scott of Florida, Rand Paul of Kentucky, Todd Young of Indiana, Steve Daines of Montana, Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming, Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, Eric Schmidt of Missouri, who we just heard from earlier, Roger Marshall of Kansas, Katie Britt of Alabama, and Jim Banks of Indiana. Now, co-sponsors, for those of you that don't understand, are people that didn't actually go ahead and write the bill or sponsor the bill. but they thought it was such a good idea that they're going to jump on and right from the get-go, they are going to co-sponsor, sign their name for the bill because they obviously are 100% behind it and they want to see this getting it done. Okay, so the amount of co-sponsors right there shows you that there's something a little bit different this year. Okay, on the House of Representatives side, you have U.S. Representative Ralph Norman, Republican out of South Carolina, that's introducing the companion resolution in the U.S. House. Thus far, no co-sponsors yet. If that happens, once everything goes through, we'll maybe bring that back up. Now, again, if this was just any other year, I would say it's just done as a political stunt. Why? Because Senator Cruz has previously introduced term limits in 2017, 2019, 2021, and 2023. So about every 2 years, he introduces this new term limit deal. But again, this one has a different feel. One, you have a plethora of senators co-sponsoring it. Okay, you have APM Joe that's showing you what can happen when you stay in too long and become president. That doesn't account for president here, but you have his mental decline. You have Nancy Pelosi, her mental decline. You had, and I apologize, I don't remember her name, but the U.S. Congressman that went missing and she was in a dementia ward, and nobody even bothered to look for her. You have just all these things going on in Congress that if this is going to be the year to introduce term limits, this is the perfect year to do it. Because I know I can speak for myself. I'm sick and tired of these career politicians that have been in there 20, 30, 40 years and doing nothing else with their lives. Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, just name a few. Okay? You've done nothing with your lives but live off the American people. Then also, they get rich as hell doing it. Which is one of the reasons why, I don't know if it was jokingly or serious, but having the possibility of having Matt Gaetz be special counsel to go after insider information. Because how can you have a $175,000 salary, even with all the perks and everything else, and serving as vice chair and chair on committees and everything else, possibly bumping you up to $250,000, maybe a little more as Speaker Pro Tem or Speaker of the House or Senate Pro Tem or whatever. Still nothing more than, like, let's say $300,000 a year, which is a good amount of money. But in 10 years, accumulate $40 million not knowing something. You're looking at now, you have some members of Congress that their portfolio for their IRAs grew at such a percentage, and we're talking like 2,500% over the past couple of years, that you can't know that. You can't get that lucky over the course of 2, 3, 4 years to have it grow at those such percentages. So there's so many perks just to be in there for years upon decades upon whatever, right? So with everything that's gone on with just having Nancy Pelosi age before our eyes, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, the congresswoman that was in the nursing home, I mean, having all this go on, and then having people like Eric Swalwell talk to the people the way he talks to them because he knows he's not going to get voted out. It's ridiculous. I think if this is the year it's going to happen, it's going to happen. All right? Now, with that being said, making an amendment to the U.S. Constitution is not easy. Because what needs to happen is you have to have a supermajority or two-thirds of what's known as a two-thirds majority vote at both the House and the U.S. Senate. So that means 66% of the House has to vote yes, 66% of the Senate has to vote yes. And regardless how you feel about Trump or anybody else, the president has nothing to do with the amendment process. Okay? Because the way the founders created the Constitution, the Congress, the House, and the Senate are what's known as the legislative branch. They legislate the laws, they make the laws. The president is part of the executive branch. He doesn't make the laws, he executes the laws that Congress makes. So when it comes to creating an amendment, the president may have a say in it, but he doesn't have an official vote in in the legislative process directly. Okay. Now, after it goes through the House, it goes through the Senate, it passes by the 2/3 majority vote. Now it's got to be ratified by 3/4 or 75% of the states. So in this case, you'd have to have 30 of the 50 states ratify this amendment and say, "Yep, we want it." Which I can't really imagine that we wouldn't be closer to 47 or 48 states, if not all 50, that would ratify this, unless it's poorly written. Okay, unless they put in one of those little caveats, like you guys got to do Obamacare, but we don't, sort of crap. All right. So I can't imagine that it wouldn't be ratified by 38 out of 50 states. Okay, so it's quite a process. Now, the founders of the Constitution, they weren't stupid. They know that human beings are emotional people, emotional animals. So they did make it very, very difficult for amendments to go through, because you don't want to make a simple majority and then it passes without, so they wanted to make it as difficult as possible, because by the time all this actually happens, it's usually years that go by. And you might be emotional about this particular issue right now, but in a year or two, when you're actually voting on it, like let's say it gets to the part where it's ratifying in the states, it's not such a hot topic. People, yeah, we don't really care about that anymore. It doesn't make it, right? There's only been 27 amendments to the U.S. Constitution since 1787, all right? And the last one, the 27th Amendment, deals with the salaries paid to the members of the U.S. Congress. Basically, they can't change a law on congressional people's salaries until a new two-year term starts for the representatives. So if you're in office, they're just starting now, and they'll be back up in 2026. Anybody that got voted in 2024 can't give themselves a raise. They give people a raise in 2026, but they may or may not be there. Okay, so you can't give yourself a raise. You can only give the next 2-year election cycle a raise, and you gotta, maybe if you stay in as the incumbent, then you essentially give yourself a raise. So that's the last amendment passed. Now, since 1787, there's been almost 12,000 amendments proposed. So that shows you the amount of amendments that have been proposed to Congress over the course of the 200 and almost 50 years that we've been around. Okay? Almost 12,000 amendments, yet only 27 of them were passed. So it is very, very, very difficult to get an amendment passed or repealed, like we see with the Prohibition one, right? So when there's an amendment added to the Constitution, it's usually something where, as you can see the process, an overwhelming 66 to 75% of the American people, from Congress to citizens, overwhelmingly approve of this amendment. Therefore, it's there. Okay. So, do I think that this could possibly be an amendment to the Constitution? Could we see the 28th Amendment? I think absolutely. If this is going to be added to the U.S. Constitution as the 28th Amendment, now is the time. Now is the time. Right? I'm not saying it will be. I'm saying right now is the perfect time to do it. And congrats to Senator Ted Cruz bringing it up yet again, and bringing it up this time at the proper time. Just one last thing before we head out of here. I know many of you have seen the Zuckerberg speech about he's going to be free speech. He's all of a sudden he's 180 degrees. He's not going to do anything. He's going to be the champion of free speech. He wants to be the next Elon Musk, right? In his words coming from his little diatribe there, he says, a series of moves to strengthen its ties to the incoming administration. So he's making a series of moves to strengthen its ties to the incoming administration. We'll get back to that. I just wanted to pull that one piece out there, right? He's donated $1 million to President Trump's inaugural fund. In this, he did the letter there just a few months ago. Still haven't seen any big changes since he made this letter, by the way. Still pretty heavily shadow banned myself. I'm sure plenty of you conservatives are too. He said he's going to end our third-party fact-checking program and move it into a community notes model, much like X. But we'll come back to that as well. He says he's moving the trust and safety teams that write their content policies and review content out of California to Texas and other U.S. locations. Now let's get back to that. They're going to end the third-party fact-checking program, and they're going to move the trust and safety teams that write the content and all that other stuff to Texas and other U.S. locations. That sounds great. Texas is a pretty conservative state, right? But here's the problem. You're still a Meta employee. It doesn't matter if you live in Texas. It doesn't matter if you live in Alaska, Arizona, New York, South Carolina, wherever the hell you live, you're still a Meta employee. Are you going to rehire and get conservative employees in there to rewrite the safety content and review content and everything else? Because if all you're doing is just saying, look, I got another socialist, communist, Marxist guy that's in Texas, because believe me, we've got plenty of them, and these wacky ass cities like Austin and San Antonio, Dallas, there's plenty of you crazy liberals around here. He's not replacing his employees with new employees that are going to push a conservative agenda. He's just very simply probably moving the same damn people to Texas. Because he didn't say it was new people. He just said he's just moving the safety teams to different states like Texas. But it's still going to be a liberal Meta employee. So when he says he's going to be doing a community notes model, much like X, take a deep breath. I want to believe him, man. I do. I really want to believe him. But he had the letter just a couple months ago saying how he was going to change crap. I haven't seen a damn change, really. Not yet. That was supposed to be a couple months ago. And this all goes back to, as he said, and I quote, series of moves to strengthen his ties to the incoming administration. Why? Because he is batshit scared of President Trump. That's it. This is a business move to appease and appeal to President Trump, and I guarantee he is going to change as little as possible to save his face and still continue to censor as much as he possibly can. I hope I'm wrong. I have zero faith in Mark Zuckerberg. None. I believe his statements on free speech as much as I believe George Soros' statement on having individual rights. Zero. No credibility. Prove me wrong there, Mr. Zuckerbitch. That's all I'm saying. But right now, I don't believe a damn word you're saying. I'm glad you gave $1 million at President Trump's inauguration. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad you helped out there. But really, I think this is just a face-saving mission, and he'll do as little as possible. But we'll see. I hope I'm wrong here. Really do. And as everybody knows, guys, I always like to try to end on a positive note. And today's positive note comes from none other than one of the Doge higher-ups, the head of Doge, along with Vivek Ramaswamy, Mr. Elon Musk. Follow this guy on Twitter. He is hilarious. All right, he doesn't mince words. He just says what he has to say. He doesn't care. And why should he? He's like a multi-billionaire that can do whatever he wants in life, right? So, the disgraced ex-Prime Minister of Canada, let me say it again, ex-Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Justin Trudeau, goes on X. Well, I guess that kind of works now, right? He's an X, so he goes on X, right? At least you got that going for you, Justin. Good job. He tweets, and I quote, "There isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada will become part of the United States. Workers and communities in both our countries benefit from being each other's biggest trading and security partners." Elon Musk, being the man he is, he never passes up an opportunity to just kind of have a little bit of fun, right? So Elon Musk, in his reply, says, "Girl, you're not the governor of Canada anymore, so doesn't matter what you say." Really, let me read that again. "Girl, you're not the governor of Canada anymore, so it doesn't matter what you say." If you guys don't follow Elon Musk on X, man, definitely do. He's a trip. It's funny to read some of the stuff he says. He's never short for words, man. It's awesome. Kind of like him. Reminds me of being in an Italian family. Nobody's ever short on words there. All right. But that's it. That's all I got today for y'all. I know probably a little bit more time today than I normally do. But I do want to appreciate and say thank you to each and every one of you social educators out there that took time out of your day to listen to me, Mike D. You guys are doing a fantastic job, man. You guys made America great again. We need you to get out there, keep educating, keep pushing the sanity, the real factual information. Again, keep America great again. Keep America sane again. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And as always, this opportunity that I have and every opportunity that I have is always done because of God, His grace, and all glory goes to Him. For each and every one of my social educators, you know I love you, and I'll pray for you. Until next time.